Matthew fucking Knies. What a game from the kid, carrying Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews along with him to just absolutely take his nuts out and drop them on the Tampa Bay Lightning's forehead yet again here tonight. 4-0 against the Lightning this season. Matthew Knies just continues to own the city of Tampa Bay, continues to own Andrei Vasilevsky, and does so here yet again tonight. And it's not fluky goals. It's not just, off your ass and in the net. It is pure domination. It is get in your face. It is nose to nose with Eric Chernak. It is winning net front battles. It is getting in Andrei Vasilevsky's grill, and it is fucking burying goals between the legs on 2-on-1s in overtime. Backdoor empty net tap-ins. Finding ways to win battles, piss people off, just do anything and everything that guy wants all over the ice. Matthew Knies is an absolute beast. He is a unicorn of a hockey player. The Toronto Maple Leafs have been searching for a guy like this, and you cannot take for granted what you have in Matthew Knies. The kid is fucking unbelievable and is priority number one ahead of July 1 into July 1. I don't give a shit. Matthew Knies is a fucking machine and won this game for the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. Look, there's a lot of other things we'll get into in the breakdown about what happened with this Leafs team and why they won this game and why we're positive about this win and why we could be happy about the points that you got here tonight. Maybe unhappy with the point that you allowed the Tampa Bay Lightning to have. Whatever. I don't really care. We'll break it all down. We'll be joined by producer Vic on the show here tonight as well to help us break it all down. But we're going to dig into everything. We'll get into your super chats. I just needed to open this thing off because it's going to be the biggest story to start tonight. It's going to be the biggest story throughout the whole show here tonight. And I guarantee tomorrow morning with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill, or Carter Hutton, if he's the one on, Matthew Knies is going to be the story yet again. A hat trick here tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning. This kid loves Amalie Arena. It's unbelievable. Comes there, think about the process this guy went through. Think about just the step-by-step to get to this point. Loses in the NCAA final in overtime against Quinnipiac. Go Bobcats. He didn't even get on the ice. He didn't even get to sniff the ice in overtime before his team and his season was done. And the championship trophy was being lifted at the other end of the ice by Quinnipiac. He signs at the Maple Leafs, joins the team in Tampa, and since that point has a vendetta against the city, the team, Amalie Arena. He does not give a shit. Matthew Knies owns the city of Tampa Bay. I have no idea what happens with the Maple Leafs against the Lightning if they match up in the playoffs at some point. I have not a clue. I don't know if this team wins a single game in the playoffs. Who the hell knows? But what I do know is Matthew Knies is the type of player you cannot ever let leave the doors of Toronto. He is a unicorn, and he owns Tampa Bay. He owns Tampa Bay. Matthew Knies, I don't know. At this point, this guy might just be my favorite player. I think Nathan McKinnon's probably my favorite player in the league. William Nylander got himself right up there. He's probably number 2. Matthew Knies is at least in the top 5 conversation. Current favorite player in the NHL. Unbelievable. This guy. What a weapon. Look, we're going to dig into the game tonight. Tonight, as always, is a presentation of Bet365, the Game 78 reaction breakdown. We will be joined by producer Vic as well. But if you're going to have a chance to win, honestly, And it's kind of unfortunate because you're paying some of the other guys so much money, but it's going to be a guy like Matthew Knies who's going to do some shit like that, who's going to carry you over the top and win you some games, who's going to dominate hockey games for you. Like, he is unbelievable. The way he approaches the game, the way he goes out there every single shift, brings intensity, effort. You know, he is a skilled player who moves up and down the ice well. You watch him on a 2-on-1. You're watching a power forward in the NHL go on a 2-on-1 in overtime and go between the legs in motion and hit a guy tape to tape. Also in motion in overtime against a defender. And then you watch him have the hockey IQ to post up there, find himself in a good spot at the back door to be able to tuck it into the empty net. You watch him go to the front of the net, tip pucks, win battles, score goals the way that he does, open up leads yet again, like the third goal of this game. You watch him get in there and piss off Erik Cernak, who is done, fed up with Matthew Knies owning real estate in front of that Tampa Bay net. It is against every defender they have on the ice. He just owns real estate in there. Oh, Cernak wants to go have a wrestling match? Well, guess what this superstar, honestly, maybe at this point, kid, is doing? All right. Erik Cernak wants to go nose to nose and have a wrestling match? I'm in. I'm not afraid of you. Go to the box, yapping away at him. It does not matter. This kid is a machine. People in Toronto have been dying for a player like this. Wendell Clark's, Dougie Gilmore's. This is the kind of shit that it reminds me of, the type of players that it reminds me of that you would have here, that the fan base would fall in love with watching that type of player in the lineup, on your roster. Just a mutant of a player with the heart of a moose. An unbelievable skill to top it all off. Matthew Knies is a unicorn. Matthew Knies needs to be a Toronto Maple Leaf for life. As long as he wants to be here, you need to be paying him. Matthew Knies is insane. Insane. He has been this way all season long. He has been this impactful. It's just to watch a kid like that on a top line alongside Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and being the guy to be carrying them through moments like that where he just steps up, elevates his play. He's able to kind of just make an impact and leave a mark on a game like that where you notice him on that line. You notice him amongst a $13.25 million forward, a $10.903 million forward. When you watch a guy like that put up a hat trick against Tampa and just say, we are not losing tonight. We are leaving here with 2 points. We are leaving here with the win. I mean, how could you not look at that guy and be ready to pay him everything? Like, within reason, obviously, but I'm walking down to that dressing room after this game just saying like, hey dude, what are we doing? Like, how are we getting this deal done? Unreal. Matthew Knies is a machine. Matthew Knies is a machine. I don't even know what to say. I'm excited to have Vic on here because if it's not for Vic, I might just spew for 60 minutes and not even talk about anything else that happened other than Matthew Knies tonight. But like, the guy is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's the only word that I could even think to come to mind. I've realized over the last little while, the one word that I say constantly now is unbelievable. I usually pick one of those up here and there, and then it gets to the point where it starts to drive me nuts that I say it over and over and over again. I'm like, I cannot believe I have just said unbelievable again, but this is fair. Like, this is fair. To call him unbelievable might even be an understatement. It honestly might at this point. What, third year in the NHL? Just take over games. Doesn't matter. Do whatever you want out there. It's your world, Matthew Knies. We're just living in it. This kid is a weapon. We do have super chats here as well, by the way, and we'll get into those throughout the course of the show tonight. Anybody who sends the super chats in, just know I will answer all of them, whether they are questions, comments, it doesn't matter. You guys send them in. You want your question or your comment read on the show, I will get to every single one. And as well, just a note here to people who are wondering what happens with the super chats. What is the point of the super chats? What do you do with the super chats? Well, we have a super chat charity partner on the show, and that would be our friends over at Sick Kids. You want to make sure your question or comment gets on the show, hit us with a super chat. Proceeds from our super chat will go to Sick Kids, Canada's first children's hospital and a top research intensive children's hospital in the world, or in Canada, and third in the world. Sorry, I mean, all over the place at this point with those. All right, let's just get to one or two super chats here before we bring Vic into the show tonight, and we'll see. Vic will let me know whenever he's ready to jump on, and we can bring him in. But just quickly here, let's get to some of these super chats. Okay. Super chat here. First one, as my screen reloads. From Robert Smith. I don't know what this one is in reference to. He says, worm castings. See, that's the other thing. Nick says castings, and for no reason. I don't know why, but I almost said it there. Worm castings, this one's for you. Thanks for the super chat. Another super chat here from Tammy. Tammy says, Knies gave us a masterclass on making Tampa his bitch tonight. Couple lightning bolts in there as well. His best game this season, in my opinion. It's unreal he hasn't been re-signed yet. Look, I feel like part of why they're just not re-signing him is because both sides are willing to wait it out. I think that the Leafs obviously want him back here. I mean, you watch a performance like that, I don't know how you couldn't want that guy back under any circumstances. You know, that's a guy that you just need here, and I would much rather keep away from getting to July 1, so there's no shot of an offer sheet. You just want to get that thing dealt with, give him the money, and just continue. Just move on. Just move on. Just get it done and move on. But I think that this is not a matter of like, oh, we don't want to sign him or they don't want to sign here. I think both parties have probably had conversations. This is an assumption, and said, okay, you know what? We can deal with this later on. Let's focus on the season and let's get through that. And I mean, yeah, obviously you'd rather just get him signed. I would rather just know that he's here for the rest of his life. Like, fuck the 8 years. Just give him lifetime deal. I'm okay with that at this point. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Matthew Knies and him making Tampa his bitch. The guy's been unbelievable since he joined the team. Like there's no other way to put it. Like, jumps in out of college and is just an immediate impact player. Like, he is not Cale Makar. That's not who he is coming out of college and being that dominant Jack Eichel. That's not who he is. That's not the expectation, though. But he is so impactful in so many other ways. Brilliant. There's another word. Maybe I'll start using that one. Brilliant. I don't know if Vic's ready yet here. Okay, I think he might be. So as I go to get this ready here, I'm trying to pull up my ad. I'm trying to pull up my ad read, and there it is. It is time now for the Ninja... Again! Start it again. It is time now for the Ninja Crispy Hotline, presented by the Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 Portable Glass Air Fryer.
Meet the first of its kind. The Ninja Crispy Portable Cooking System. The power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hand. So you can cook big or small batches. Just prep it, crisp it, serve it, and store it all in one.
Okay, it is an all-in-one. Oh, as it doesn't play on the screen there, that's great. It is an all-in-one system that includes 4-quart, 6-cup Tupperware glass containers and 2 storage lids. As well, the Ninja Crispy is thermal shock resistant and can go from frozen to crispy in minutes. With the Crispy Power Pod, you get the power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hands. The 4-quart container fits 4 pounds of chicken or veggies. Cook a personal-sized meal in 7 minutes in the 6-cup container. Max crisp, bake, air fry, and recrisp with the Ninja Crispy. You can prep, cook, and store anything from crispy favorites to one-dish meals. Visit their website in the link in the description and stay tuned for a chance to win a free Ninja Crispy for one of our fans. As I try to fix this because I messed up and don't have producer Vic's camera ready. Give me 2 seconds and he should be good to go on the screen. And there he is. Producer Vic, welcome to the show. How you feeling tonight? Unbelievable, perhaps?
Unbelievable in one show. We could get an unbelievable counter here. As you were talking, Matthew Knies, I got a tweet notification from James Myrtle. Leafs players with 29 plus goals at age 22 or younger since 89-90. Matthews, Kessel, Knies. That's it. There's the list. Unbelievable.
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 I'm going to have to do like a super cut. A super cut of unbelievables here tonight. Look, I gave my tangent off the top of the show. We have a ton of super chats that are piling up in here as well. So
Chad
thank
Doyle
you to
has
saying
a
those.
Fantastic super chat, by the way.
Okay, let's go. I'll hold on to that and then we'll get to it.
Okay.
But like, just give me your immediate reaction to this one tonight, Vic. There were super exciting moments. There was an unreal start to this game, especially compared to what we saw last night where it was flat. It looked, like you couldn't get anything going and the big boys were asleep at the wheel. Tonight, they come out, they're ready to go from the jump. A minute 15 in, they open the scoring. It's back and forth action. The second period, all of a sudden, they kind of look like shit. And then you're back to the third period and it's like the Leafs swing that thing back in their direction. They start taking control of the game. You get rinsed by the Zebras for a little bit, but then you find a way to win in overtime. Like, this thing had it all here tonight against Tampa. What were you feeling as this 64-ish minutes transpired through regulation and overtime?
Yeah, absolute emotional roller coaster. Like, I don't even know where to begin. The start was amazing, obviously. Getting Knies on the board early. We had talked about that, you and I, prior to the game going. A lot of odd man opportunities. I think the Leaf speed somehow surprised Tampa. Like, they weren't ready for it. I'm not sure what that was early on. Domi had a couple breaks. Knies got in behind the D. Was it Willie right off the bat too? 8 seconds in or 7 seconds in, got a clean look too. Like, yeah, it was pretty quick, pretty early, pretty dominant early from the Leafs. I don't know if Berube said something or if it's just playing in that building, because the boys are always fired up in Tampa. I don't know what it is, but they woke up and seemed to dominate super early, and then Tavares took the penalty and it kind of evened out the rest of that first period. I will say I was a little sad at the Knies goal, and let me just tell you why. It just because of where Matthews was positioned when he took that shot. I'm used to that going bar down and Matthews celebrating. I was happy that Knies got it. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to turn this into a negative, but it would have been nice to see Matthews go bar down and give a nice little celly there in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing that's really frustrating to me here, Vic, in a game like this, and it's not to make it like a negative, but it's like, why does this happen one night and not the other? And I know it's regular season and, there's ups and downs. You can't have an A+ night every single night. I just don't understand, watching Matthews and Marner in a game like this and seeing what happened last night against Florida. Because tonight, it feels like, yeah, okay, maybe things were a little bit more open. Like you brought up the fact maybe Tampa wasn't ready for their speed. It was weird right away in the first period, and it's kind of weird all season long. Like you're 4-0 against Tampa here. It's felt like they've struggled to handle some of that sometimes, where the Leafs are still playing pretty well structured hockey, still playing pretty well defensively, not giving up these big, glamorous, high danger chances, but they can go into a track meet against Tampa. They can go up and down the ice. But then it's like watching Matthews and Marner in these games, just creating chance after chance after chance and opening stuff up for themselves. And then I just watched that last night. I watched it flip over into this game tonight, and I'm like, this is the tale of two teams. But it's into that sentence, that statement, it's a tale of two teams, but it's driven by two guys who play differently one night to the next, and all of a sudden the team outlook looks different.
I just don't think Tampa's as good a checking team as Florida is. I think it really comes down to that. Tampa's doesn't have the same type of size. They don't have the same type of grit. And if you noticed, throughout the first two periods, I think they talked about it in the intermission there on the broadcast, there was nothing. There was no rough stuff. There was no skirmishes. There was nothing between the whistles. It didn't look like a Toronto-Tampa game. It kind of picked up there with Cernak and Knies. And again, Knies is unbelievable, man. Unbelievable Knies. He gets in there with Cernak, starts chirping away, gets involved in the rough stuff too on the peeper there. And God, he's just unbelievable. I lost my train of thought. He's so good.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
He's
But it didn't really feel like a regular Tampa-Toronto game to me.
Yeah.
Stamkos is not there either. It just has a different feel. And you think these teams know each other so well. So I don't know how we kind of got the jump on them there and kind of caught them off guard. But they just didn't seem ready for it. And then, I don't know, it like you said, the refs kind of evened it up a little bit, and they got a couple of the breaks, but it didn't feel normal to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's kind of felt like that all year. Also noting Tampa tonight didn't have Gensel. But I feel like just that the slight change in no Sergachev, no Stamkos, it just kind of changes the initial outlook on who they are.
They lost a little bit of their identity,
or at least the rivalry that you.
Yeah, exactly. Some of those key players in the rivalry are no longer on their team. So
yeah, agreed.
It just had a different vibe to it.
Okay, let's get to some of these super chats and let's talk about the unbelievable Matthew Knies, and we'll get into some other stuff that happened here tonight, Vic. But let's start with the first one. Okay, so this is the one you were referencing earlier. Chad Doyle.
Chad. Yeah.
Knies with a veiny show of force with testicular heft.
Couldn't have said it better myself, my friend. Chad, that is a perfect description of Matthew Knies.
Vic, I don't know if you caught the beginning. I started the show by saying Knies took his nuts out and dropped them on Tampa's forehead.
Yep.
That's effectively what Chad is continuing.
Chad put that in poetic writing and then published it. He took what you said, edited it up, and then that's what copy editors are for.
Yeah. So at least
it's amazing what a set of nuts can do, eh? One guy, just 22 years old, and he just puts the team on his back. One guy drops the nuts, and that's it. Everybody follow me, and everybody follows.
Look, that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about how insane it is to watch a player like this, and why I use the word unbelievable 10 billion times to describe him. And his play and what he means to this team and how important he is to the room and to the potential success or a run that this team could have. Like, you watch a guy, and I've said it, so I'm not saying anything new from the show tonight or what I've said previously, but Vic, you watch a guy go on a full-speed 2-on-1, go between his legs, make a tape-to-tape pass across a defender. Like, tape-to-tape, Morgan Rielly did not have to fumble that thing. He didn't have to corral it or anything. Tape-to-tape across to Morgan Rielly in motion. And then you watch him earlier in the second period, in the third period, net front scrums. Eric Chernak's getting out. Like, he's just
Can I just add to that between the legs pass?
Yeah.
How many guys twirl back all the way around? That guy stood far post.
Stopped at the net.
Stopped at the net, and he took the Matthews pass and buried it right after. How many guys twirl back after that pass gets broken up and then head all the way around the end boards and head back into the D zone? He stopped up, put his stick down, and he buried it, and he won the game.
It's just the IQ, the intelligence, the skill to be able to make that play, the nuts to attempt that play. Like, this is not game 20 of the season. This is not a game in December. This is a game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, who were 2 points behind you in the standings in this game. Now, you get to overtime, you get the point, so that's obviously important there, where they're not just going to tie you with the win. Like, you're at least gathering the one and, lessening the blow if you lose this game. Let's put it that way. But to be in that position, on the road, in overtime, to attempt that pass in the first place, like, you're in your third year in the NHL, and you're just willy-nilly throwing those things around and pulling them off. Like, the only reason that thing wasn't a highlight reel on its own where it's just going to be a standalone is because Morgan Rielly didn't score. But the play itself then circles back and he scores. And it's like the hat-trick goal, finish off the game. And then it's the physical play. How many times tonight, Vic? Last night against Florida, one of the big problems I thought this team had, now mind you, part of that I think is because of officiating. I think the boys brought up this morning. You were mad about it last night in the group chat, and Nick was tweeting about it. I think everyone had a right to be mad about some of the stuff we were seeing with the interference. Like, it happens a billion times with Florida, and they just get away with it. But they struggled to get into the offensive zone on a forecheck. They struggled to establish offensive zone time, get pucks back, retrieve pucks. Now you get a cycle game going, get below the goal line. They could not do that last night against Florida. How many times tonight is it the puck going in the corner and, oh, look, it's Matthew Knies who is hauling ass into the corner to put pressure on defenders, take time and space away, make their lives uncomfortable. And I've said it a billion times before, and I will continue to say it. You do not need to bash guys' heads through the glass. You need to make their lives uncomfortable, and that's what Matthew Knies does. And then he goes and scores 3 goals against Tampa, and it's like, fuck, pay the man the money. Pay the man the money.
Whatever he wants, pay that man. And do you know what he kind of reminds me of a little bit is this Matthews, Marner, and Nylander when they were young and they were still having fun before we absolutely sucked the life out of those guys, and now they're all businesslike. Yeah. But he looks like he's having fun out there. He looks like he's having a good time. When he buried that, you see the excitement on his face. He knows he owns those guys. He knows. He walks into that building and he knows that he's the best. I think they lost the Frozen Four, the finals, the national championship in that building in overtime. And he hates it. And he has made that place go from a house of horrors for himself into like paradise. He will not have anything, no doubts. He leaves no doubts in that building. He's like, I run this motherfucker. Yeah. And I will forever.
Dude, I was trying to find something in my Twitter.
A lot of talk about my hair in the chat.
Yeah, I know.
It's Big Willie style. Yeah, I'm bald, bro. I'm bald. Yeah.
I was trying to find something in my Twitter notifications, and Merrick has unfortunately blown up my thing because I tweeted, blank check, I don't care, give Matthew Knies everything. And he replied and said, dash Fenway Sports to Kyle Dubas, implying that's what they're saying. And now my notifications are like I can't navigate this. So whatever I was that I was trying to find is gone, and we'll not worry about that. Let's go to other things. I've talked enough about Matthew Knies here tonight. Honestly, I probably haven't talked enough about Matthew Knies, but we're 30 minutes in. It's unbelievable. And that's pretty much the only thing we've said. So let's try to talk about something else here tonight. There are super chats, and I want to make sure I get to these as well. There's almost 230 people watching right now. There's only 65 likes. That does mean, which, by the way, Vic, I still have your smelling salts, which I got to get to you before the playoffs. So we'll get that. But let me do the smelling salts here. And while I do so, I want to get your thoughts on Anthony Stolarz. And let me set the scene here before I hand it off to you and let you talk about it. So first of all, you are a Joseph Woll guy. Yep. I have no issue with Joseph Woll. I'm not an anti-Joseph Woll guy. But what I have felt over the last couple weeks here specifically is that Anthony Stolarz has... I don't want to say taken the net, but he has elevated himself in the eyes of the coaching staff, I think is maybe the more appropriate way to put it. He has shown me, and I think a lot of other fans, that maybe he deserves to be the guy that gets the tap in game one. And I agree with Nick as well, where we're going to see both, but who starts? Who's the leadoff hitter? In my opinion, it's Anthony Stolarz. He responds... Following up last night's game where Joseph Woll was out of his mind, he's going to get an opportunity on the back-to-back. What did you make of Stolar's game tonight, and what do you make of the goaltending situation as a whole as we get closer and closer to game one of the playoffs and a decision's going to have to be made? As well, keep liking the stream. I'll do the smelling salts for the first 50 here that we hit. If we get to 100, we'll do more.
Look, I have absolutely loved Anthony Stolarz all season. I produce a show, Morning Cup of Hockey, every day, 9 a.m. Eastern time.
Which you're hosting tomorrow, by the way.
Which
right?
I'm hosting, by the way. Co-hosting, sort of. Yes and no, but whatever. Anyways, I bothered Colby Cohen for the entire season leading up to Four Nations, telling him that Stolarz should be on Team USA. I told him he's better than Swayman. He's better than Swayman. He's better than Swayman. He's better than Swayman. And then Four Nations hit, and I don't know what happened, but something clicked in me that Woll's the future. And Woll, everyone I hear talking about Stolarz starting game one, a lot of the conversation is about he was in that locker room last year with Florida. He has more experience. If Anthony Stolarz wants to learn or needs someone to lean on to talk about playing in playoff games, he can ask Joseph Woll, because Anthony Stolarz has played 18 playoff minutes, 18, and he got shelled in those 18 minutes, might I add. So Joseph Woll's first, what did he play? He played down 3-0 against Florida. He came in, so his first start, elimination game. Second start, elimination game. Then he comes in down 3-1 to Boston, plays in game 5, elimination game, wins that. Plays game 6, elimination game, wins that. Put more pressure on the kid. I want him in there with a clean slate and see what he can do, because he's shown me how good he is when all the pressure in the world is on him and he can't make a mistake. So if he has a little more leeway, I would like to see what he could do. Now, having said that, Anthony Stolarz came up with that save on the breakaway on Braden Point in overtime, and a little part of me was just like, God damn, how do you not give this guy the net? Just that one save. Do you know how big that point is to steal that point when Braden Point is bearing in on you? And Braden Point is like thought of as one of the best players in the league, and I still think he's underrated. Like, I think he's even better than that.
Yeah.
And that guy bearing in on you in clutch time like that to steal the point, I don't know. It's insane to me. And then we had John Van Biesberg on our show today, at least Morning Take, and he said Woll should start. So, like, I'm just a mess. Again, I don't think you can go wrong, but Beezer's point was, if Woll falters, Stolarz is a better guy to come off the bench because he's done that his whole life.
Right.
And it made sense to me, but yeah, again, Woll's the future. I've seen Woll in the toughest and the worst situations, and he's always come up big. So that's kind of what I'm leaning on. I kind of answered that in 5 minutes and gave you no real answer. I
No,
apologize.
no, you answered it. You answered it. Honestly, like that was effectively how I was looking. I wanted your opinion. I'm not necessarily looking for just a straight up answer. I want to know how you feel about it. If you got to talk through the whole thing, then that's what it is. I think the thing for me with going with Stolarz first is just he's being a pillar of consistency. I feel like
he's been the better goalie. He has.
Yeah, I feel like his floor
there's no
is
ifs,
just
ands, or buts about
higher.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
Wall ceiling's higher. And I heard Hutton talking about it. I think it was on your show on Morning Cup of Hockey, actually. And he was saying, the thing with Wall is that he'll steal you a game. The thing with Stolarz is just that he won't lose you one kind of thing. Like, he'll keep you in it. He'll give you that chance. Wall might steal the game. And I think that that's fair. But we have seen a couple of times here now where it's like, oof, Wall, like, tough night, guy. And it's gone the wrong way. It's that, by the way, has not been a common theme. It's just, it has happened. It felt like those have not been as prominent.
Yesterday, the first goal stinker, and then just absolutely shuts the door. And again, it's just like, don't let the stinker in, though.
Yeah.
And I'm with you on that. I 100% agree with you on that. Don't let that stinker in, because the stinker is the one that kills you, as Ilya Samsonov proved over and over and over again. And that's why he's no longer here. He always allowed that one bad goal, where Wall wasn't doing that in the postseason. And now it's kind of crept in here in his regular season play.
Yep. We've got a couple other super chats. I don't want to keep you forever because I know you've got a show first thing tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. Producer Vic will be making his co-hosting debut on Morning Cup of Hockey, so he's going to have to be well rested, and I know everyone's going to want to tune in for that, as you should, and you should subscribe to the channel. You should be subscribed here as well. And I'm going to take a quick second here as well, Vic, to plug the fact that we do have new playoff shirts. I'm wearing it right now. Yours are on the way.
Mine's in the mail.
Yes, yours is in the mail. It's on the way. It's playoff season, and Leafs Nation is your ultimate destination for live updates, expert analysis, and everything you need to know about the action on and off the ice. Make sure to follow us on social media. Hit up the Leafs Nation 401, and don't miss out on our exclusive content on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And hey, if you're ready to rep the team in style, check out our fresh new playoff merch at nationgear.ca. I am rocking it right now, as you can see on camera. Producer Vic will be getting his very soon, and the next time I have him on, hopefully he'll be wearing it. But yes, I'm pretty proud of the merch that we have this year, Vic. Last year, it was all right. These ones I think are a lot better. I also, the white one looks very good in person. Very good in person.
Yeah, I think you had a huge hand in designing those, so I'm not surprised that looks good, because you kill it with those things. Yeah, you kill it with those.
Thank you. We
Your
tried.
thumbnails and everything. Sorry, I'm talking a little smack to 6 1/3 in the chat here.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't seem to like Joseph Woll very much, but every professional NHL goalie that has been spoken to about anything has said Woll should start game 1.
Yeah.
But hey, what do I know? I just listened to U.S. Hall of Famer John Van Beesbrook and our resident goalie Carter Hutton, and I mean, whatever. I don't know anything.
Okay, let's do a couple of these super chats here.
Also, hold on before you go. I'm so sorry. I don't want to take over your show, but I just saw his name pop up. I always called him Worm Castings until you said
you
it.
Did too?
I don't know why, but it's clearly not Worm Castings.
No, Worm Castings.
Worm Castings. Yes. So that makes sense, and it's English. But I don't know why.
But I listened to you guys, and I've talked to you about it. I listened to the morning show, Leafs Morning Take, right here on this channel, Leaf Station 401. Everyone should be listening as well. And every time I hear Nick say it now, Worm Castings, it starts to build into my brain, and then it like accidentally comes out. It's like yesterday on the sheet, I almost called the Rangers, the Lazaruses.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I heard
it
that
literally was coming off my tongue. I was like, yeah, you know the New York Lazarus, and I was like, Rangers, not the Lazaruses. But anyways, let's do a couple more of these super chats. Did you put this poll up here? I didn't even see this. Oh wait,
this is
never mind.
Is
That's
that from the
me
morning?
Before. I put that up when I scheduled the stream. I'm wondering what the hell is going on.
I voted like when I joined that Leafs would win an LT.
Okay. Anyways, let's tidy this up. There is some ridiculous super chats. So some of these, let's just rapid fire, and then I'll let you get out of here. So let's start with this. This one comes. This one comes from Mitch Marner's vulva.
All right.
And it says, that's inappropriate. And it says, $2 towards a fund to get Vic a hat that fits.
God, here. Fuck's sakes. Thank you, Mitch Marner's vulva.
Okay.
That's funny.
Debo here says as well, Knies is a coach's / fan wet dream. Enjoy Utah, Mitch. So
two parts to that one.
Okay. Look, we've said a lot about this. I need to bring up one thing from this game tonight because this has been like a bit of an off the rails show here. It's been a fun one so far, but there's something I need to address.
Okay.
I need you. I want you here for this because if it's just me, my like anger meter is just going to rise the more I talk about it. The chat's going to be mad that I brought it up. But Mitch has been now brought up a couple of times in the last two super chats there in a couple different ways. But that dive on the Hedman goal can never happen. And
oh my God.
I wish I remember specifically what game it was. I can try to find it in my notes. Like during the game, I think I've told you, I've told the people in the chat how this works, but like I just write notes about what happens, who does what on some of the plays. It helps me just remember like the players involved or the timestamps, and then I could refer to them after the fact. But I remember like 2 weeks ago, I wrote something about Marner diving on a PK to try to break up a play and missing. And it's a high-risk play because if he hits it, he's potentially off on a breakaway if he can get up fast enough and he's broken up that play and everyone's looking the wrong way. But the opposite side of that, Vic, is exactly what you saw here tonight. And the problem for me is that it's not that hard in this instance for you to get to the what's the worst that can happen. Like, you know, when you make those plays and you say, what's the worst that can happen? And then sometimes you try to go down this path and it's like, well, this is the worst possible outcome, but it's worth it for me to do so because I have this, this, and this in place. And I have these options. On a penalty kill like that, you lay out there, it is not hard for you to get exposed in that situation, for them to now have a 5-on-3, which they ended up having. And oh, by the way, in that instance, Matthews is shaken up.
Yeah.
He took a shot off, I think it was the foot, the outside of the foot there. He blocked it was a big, big soak that he had. He blocks that, but he's in some pain. And he's not mobile. He's kind of down, but like not fully out where they're going to blow the whistle. It becomes like a 5-on-2. And Hedman walks right down Broadway and rips that thing home. That is a terrible decision by Marner in that situation. He made a lot of great plays tonight. I thought he played pretty well, so I'm not going to harp on his game as a whole. But that play and those plays in particular, you know, I look back to the play he made last night against Florida where the net's empty, they're down 1, they're trying to get a goal. He goes behind the net, picks up the puck, and makes like this kind of like no look, backhand pass up the wall, kind of trying to hit a guy into the neutral zone. You know, the good outcome that can happen there is Nylander's out in the neutral zone, picks it up, and he's off to the races. The bad outcome is what happens. It gets turned over, it comes back into your zone, and then it ends up in the empty net. Those plays are fine in the regular season because you can get away with them. In the playoffs, you gotta cut that shit out. Like, if you play like Marner did for, I don't know what we want to call it here, like 55, 59 minutes of the game, let's say, but that blip happens, that's what you're going to be remembered for. And I personally don't care the shit and the pushback I'm going to receive from people on stuff like that, because if you are making those plays and it's ending up in the back of your net like that in a playoff series against a tough opponent at a bad time in a game, whatever it may be, all of the above, one of the above, doesn't matter, then you deserve scrutiny for that play. I thought he played a great game here tonight. I thought he showed up. He answered the bell. But those kinds of things, they got to be cut out because that was a terrible decision at a tough time in the game. Like, that can't happen, Vic.
He has to make me hate him. He has to. He has to. He has. It's the thing that he does. And I wanted to come on here. I was excited to come on here so we could actually praise him for one episode together.
Yeah.
And again, you're absolutely right. 59, or they went into overtime. 64-45 of 65 minutes, whatever the hell was played. He was amazing. And he did that. And the reason he did it is what pisses me off the most. The reason he did it is because it would look nice on camera. He could have skated right to the puck. It was slow roller. He was the only one there and had zero reason to dive at the puck. Mm-hmm. Just skate over, pick it up, shoot it down the ice, and the Leafs win 3-2 in regulation. Instead, he dives because it looks nice and it looks like he's trying harder than he is. And here we are, talking shit about him again.
Yeah.
Because, like, again, I'm looking in the chat, 97 points, 96 points, whatever the hell he has. Great.
That's great.
Great. Fantastic. He's had an amazing year, and his vulva is going to look nice in Utah. But, I mean, you can't do that shit, man. Not in that situation. Not in that. It's a 1-goal game with goddamn Hall of Famers on the ice. What are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
Pick up the puck, shoot it 200 feet, and get off the ice. I hate it.
I'm convinced in that situation too, Vic, that if he just skates, he's breaking up the play.
He might have a breakaway if he just skates.
He's potentially
Everyone
breaking
else
it up
was
and gone.
flat-footed.
Yeah. And he dives to try to make that play, to try to break it up. Like, I mean, we bring this up. It's just like the guy played really well here tonight. And we make this comment, which needed to be said. I am in my roommates and my girlfriend laugh every time I watch Leafs games because it's like the game's going on. I have my dad who's at his house texting me the entire time. Anything happens, I'm getting texts. I'm getting texts from our Leafs Nation group chat. Yeah. I'm getting texts from my buddies on my beer league hockey team. I get texts from my buddies in university. And it's just my phone blows up all at the same time. All of these things, whenever stuff happens. That play was unanimously shit on by every person I know. Yeah. Every person in my phone was like, you cannot do that. I don't care who you are. I would be losing my mind if I was an Oilers fan and watched McDavid do that. If I was an Oilers fan and watched Draisaitl, or an Avs fan and watched McKinnon. That play can't happen. You need to make the play there 100% of the time. And unfortunately, it's not 100% hit rate type of play. It's just not. And in that instance, then, don't do it. That's just the thing for me walking away from this game of do not do that risky-ass play. You got to have some awareness about what time it is in the game, who you're on the ice against, what the situation is on the score clock, what the situation is on the fact that you're playing against the Tampa Bay Lightning power play. It's not fucking, I don't know, Anaheim's was terrible, right? So it's not the Anaheim Ducks power play out there. It's Victor Hedman, Kucherov, Braden Point, you name it, out there on the ice against you, and you're making that play. It's a high-risk play with minimal payback. I mean, I'm just reading the people in the chat, like, Zack, he has 96 points for fuck's sakes. Easy, all caps, wrong. Zack and Mitch need to fight it out in the ring. Zack is such a hater. Zack knows nada. People are mad about this stuff. Like, he played really well tonight. That needs to be eliminated, because if that happens in the playoffs and they lose a game because of it, guess what? It's really hard. It's gonna be really, really hard to come back from a goal like that in the playoffs. It just is.
I wish it was Austin Matthews that did that. I wish, just so we could criticize it and people wouldn't say we're hating on the guy. Like, I just wish it was somebody else, anybody. I wish it was Kelly fucking Yarncroke. Yeah. Just because we would have criticized it the same goddamn way. The puck is right there. Go grab it, shoot it down the ice. That's all we're saying. You don't have to make that risky play. It was absolutely 100% avoidable.
Yeah. It's just it's not necessary. It's really not necessary. I don't know what else to say about it. Okay, Vic, is there anything else you want to address? Anything from the chat? Any super chats? Anything you want to get to? We got a super chat
from Mitch Marner's vulva again. I think that just popped up.
Okay, let me play the animation here. Okay. Do you want to read it, or do you want me to? From Mitch Marner's vulva.
No, you go for it.
You're talking about the most recent one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Out of Holmberg, Kampf, Yarncroke, Lawton, Lorenz. Holy shit. Out of Holmberg, Kampf, Yarncroke, Lawton, Lorenz, McMahon, Patches, and Robertson, which two do you healthy scratch the most for the playoffs versus Ottawa?
Okay. First and foremost, Bobby McMahon does not belong on that list.
No, he's playing 100%.
He's playing 100%. Steven Lorentz, 100% playing.
Agreed.
And Scott Lawton, 100% playing.
Yeah, they're not making that trade that they did and healthy scratching him.
Okay, so that leaves Holmberg, Kampf, Yarncroke, Patches, and Robertson.
Yeah.
I think Patches healthy, he's in.
Yeah.
What about you?
I agree. I think he probably goes, which is crazy to think, just given like what we've seen over the last little while, but I think he probably goes on the second line.
Yeah. Berube loves Domi, Robertson, McMahon.
Loves. Anytime something goes wrong, it's like the Marner with Matthews.
Yeah. You put Domi with McMahon and Robertson every single time. The problem is, I think Robbie's getting scratched game one.
Yeah, because they're banking on him scoring in game two.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's a joke, but like it's kind of not.
Yeah. So I think Kampf's job is really, really on the line here, because I think Lawton's slotting into that 4C, and Kampf's going to have a hard time getting back in. I don't know how banged up he is either. Like, he could be gone for months. Who knows? I have no idea. I think Kampf's in tough, and then the last spot will go Holmberg, Robertson, flip.
Yeah, like, so to answer that, there's also some things you have to factor in with it too, right? Like, who does Berube like? He clearly likes Holmberg, so that's one. I think he's in.
I'm sorry, another super chat from our buddy.
Yeah, I see it. Let me answer this first. He likes Holmberg, so Holmberg's in. He likes Yarncroke, which you can very clearly tell. He likes him. He's in. McMahon, Lawrence, Lawton, we covered that. Patches is a weird one. He's had time where he's been up in the press box. The other side of this is definitively that Berube has a hard time with Robertson.
Yeah.
You watch shit that he does, and sometimes I just scratch my head, like the Marner dive and play, where you're like, whoa, why did you do that? It's like Robertson does stuff like the game, like last night against Florida, where he's behind the net and he's got pressure, and and he banks it off his own net while he's like the last guy back and makes that play. And it's like, you succeeded. That's good. Yeah. I'm happy you succeeded. But holy shit, what happens if you didn't? Yeah. Like, that guy picks up that puck. He's all alone. Florida's in on pressure. Maybe the puck ends up in your net. Berube might have told him to take his gear off right then and there. He might have been gone from the game, let alone, like not playing in the next one. He has times where he just really doesn't trust Robertson, and that makes me feel like he's kind of that guy who's got to really impress in like the last 4. And I don't know. He comes back. He scores 2 goals against Columbus, does some dumb shit against Florida. Tonight, I thought he looked fine. He looks energetic, but it's just like, hey.
Yeah, the back check in the first period there on Chafee. He hunted him down. Yeah, he's a little water bug, but God.
Yeah.
The
IQ
like,
what are you doing in your minutes?
Seem to be there, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's probably, for me, Yarncroke is in. I think Robertson and Kampf might be on the outside looking in for me. I don't know. If it's like you're asking me which 2 of those guys, it's probably who I lean towards.
Yeah. All right. I have one more thing for you before I go.
Okay.
Did we win the Atlantic tonight?
My only problem is I don't know who's on Tampa's schedule coming up to close things out. But because the thing is, like, if they won in reg, I would say yes. My answer would just be yes, because I think the Leafs are going to be okay. They get enough points. Tampa getting that point scares me a little bit, because, like, you look at this schedule here now. The Leafs have Montreal on Saturday. You should win, but it's the Leafs.
Yeah,
you never know.
That's Montreal Saturday night. One could be in President's Trophy, one could be draft lottery, and that game's tight. So
on Sunday at 5:00 in Carolina, the second day of a back-to-back, you play Carolina.
That is a loss.
Feels like a loss.
Yep.
You play Buffalo
Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Okay.
Who the hell knows? Seriously. And then Detroit, I think they're okay with Detroit. Like, I don't say that like, oh, they're gonna dummy Detroit. Like, Detroit's not a formidable opponent. It's like, those ones where it's like you lose to Buffalo, you lose to the Montreals, like those kinds of things happens. Like Detroit, you're back and forth with. I feel like you probably win that game. I don't think it's like
last game of the season though. You never know what happens in that. No, you don't know who's even playing. Who maybe Tanev's out, maybe. I don't know. They find a way to sit Austin. Who knows?
Yeah, but this is an interesting one. And the problem why I don't definitively say yes is that Tampa got a point tonight.
Okay, so LJ said Leafs need 105. Do you agree with that? 105?
Well, then that would wait. To go 2.
Well, no, 8, yeah. So, yeah, Tampa can end with 105.
6 1/3.
Are we banking on them losing 1 too? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. Okay, so you both have 4 games left, you and Tampa. Here, let me just pull up Tampa's schedule. Let's just do this together quickly
let's do this
before
together.
You leave.
Sorry, I didn't mean for this
Yeah. No, it's all good. This is a worthy conversation. Okay. So
Tampa has
plays
Florida in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I do know that.
So they have Detroit Friday.
Okay.
Buffalo Sunday. I think Tampa's the type of team that takes care of both of these.
Yeah. Especially fighting for home ice. They want home ice against Florida.
They have Florida on Tuesday and New York on Thursday.
Okay, let's give them 6 points. That gives them 103, right?
They're 3 behind you.
And they're 3 behind you. So that gives you 103. We need 2 wins. 2 out of 4 in Marin?
I think they do it. I think they do it then. But I can't sit here and tell you with certainty that they do. I would have rather had a 4-point lead tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And we would have if someone just skated to a puck and shot it 200 feet down the ice instead of diving.
Well, that's you be careful. He has 96 points this year. So, Vic, anything else? Is that it? That's all you got?
Leafs in 5.
Leafs in 5. Who are we playing? Doesn't
Brady
matter.
Tkachuk, Connor Hellebuck, Vancouver Canuck. Don't matter. Leafs in 5.
Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. Good luck. Wait, give a little plug tomorrow for Daily Faceoff. Morning Cup of Hockey, 9 a.m. Eastern time on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. Vic is making his co-hosting debut. Just give us a little bit of a rundown and we'll get you out of here.
All right. So I just actually right now got a confirmation here on our third guest. So we have Pat Maroon off the top, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. We have Chris Peters, prospects, and then we have former NHL goalie Devin Dubnyk joining us at 9:45. So Johnny and I, 3 guests. I'm probably not going to say much. I'll be hiding in the background, but I'm playing the Zack Phillips on the sheet role, basically.
Okay.
It's what I'm doing.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, it'll be fun. I will be tuned in. Vic, thank you for doing this. Appreciate it as always. I have a boatload of super chats to get to. I've got more smelling salts to do. I have more segments to do. And I am already an hour into this show, so unbelievable.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Vic. Appreciate
Yeah.
it. There you go. Producer Vic hopping on to help us break this one down here tonight. Appreciate him, as always, for stopping by the Leafs Nation After Dark show. As I mentioned there, we do have a lot to get to. Crit Commander there saying, Pat Maroon is a guest. Gross. Pat Maroon is a guest on Morning Cup of Hockey once a week for those boys with Glaz and Colby and the best producer in the game. I mean, I guess I gotta stop saying that. We can be the co-best producers because I am also a producer now, not just like hosting stuff. But we did hit 100 likes here on the show. Let me get to the smelling salts for that. If we hit 150, we'll do it again. Again, thank you everyone for watching, liking, subscribing. If you haven't already, Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Much more content like this, especially as we get ourselves ready for the playoffs. Thank you, everyone, for liking. Here is the smelling salts. All right. I have a ton of super chats that I've loaded up. I need to answer every single one of them. I'm not going to play the music for everyone, but bear with me as I go through these super chats. I want to answer every single person here in the chat, everyone who has sent money, everyone who has participated in the show here tonight. Thank you, guys. Remember, proceeds from the super chats do go to sick kids. It goes to an awesome cause. So thank you, guys, for doing that. But let's get to our super chats. Okay, super chat here. Mitch Marner's vulva. Again. Only looking at next year. Would you pay Tavares and Knies more or less than a combined total of 12 mil? And how much each? Well, because I think that JT makes probably about in the range of 7, I'm going to say over 12 mil because I would assume Knies, even on like a 4-year deal, probably locks up somewhere around 8. So, I mean, even if JT is slightly below that, 6.5, 7, I don't know, like that kind of feels like where he's going to come in. That's if he takes a discount, by the way, because I think he could probably get more out there on the open market. If you really think about it, think about the guy having a point per game. If someone else out there wanted to do like 2 years for him, they could probably bang out like a decent amount of money to get him. I don't know. Like, I'm just spitballing numbers. It's not like I have any insight on these, but you got to be realistic. The guy's a point per game player. It's not like he's just some old washed up bum. He's not. More super chats. Next one here comes in from Dan Freeman. Dan says, Philly, Knies, Marner, and JT make that money work because Knies has leverage. He's going to get offers, a.k.a. offer sheets. Also, when do you see a between the legs 30-foot pass fucking deadly? We aren't ready still, though. The team conversation of what happens is an entirely different one. I mean, you play like you did tonight, yeah, you could probably do some damage in the playoffs, but they don't play like that every night. That's the scary thing. Like, that's the problem. That is the issue. You gotta find a way to have some consistency when you find a game like this. It has to be something you just do night in, night out. It has to be your identity, not something you choose to do one time. That's the frustrating part with the team. In terms of the Knies leverage, yeah, I mean, I guess he has leverage because could potentially be offer sheeted, and knowing that teams out there might do that. But if the Leafs just come to him and offer what he's worth and what he's willing to take, then like, what does it matter? I mean, it could just get this deal done. He also has to accept an offer sheet from someone else. He would have to say yes and sign the paper and force the Leafs' hand. He could get offers, but doesn't mean he has to sign them. More super chats. Okay. Jim, awesome effort. 50 years following the Leafs. Exciting times with this bunch, but there's no easy team in this division. They will need to show up every night. You guys are great with the casting and interviews. Keep it up. Jim, thank you for the massive super chat there. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support on the channel. I mean, for people who are enjoying the show here tonight, for people who enjoy the show Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time with the Leafs Morning Take boys, producer Vic behind the scenes there, as well as Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill, Carter Hutton hopping on, Dave Pagnotta joining Nick on the morning show as a co-host a lot of times as well. Thank you guys. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button. The effort here tonight was pretty dialed in. It was a bit of a sloppier, looser second period. You kind of let Tampa flip that one. You know, like something I've been doing here a little bit to just kind of measure the back and forth of the game is writing the deserve to win meter and the expected goals after each period. So, I mean, after one, the Leafs were 63.7% on the deserve to win meter. Just looking at the expected goals, the Leafs had 1.43 expected goals to Tampa's 0.87. Then following the second period, this is not just the second period alone, this is like after 40 minutes of play, the Tampa Bay Lightning were then up 65.4% on the deserve to win meter. And on the other side of the expected goals and where you're looking at there, the Tampa Bay Lightning were then at 2.5 expected goals to the Leafs 1.6. You look at that second period alone, the Leafs had generated just over 1.7 expected goals, about 0.17 expected goals. 0.17 expected goals in that second period compared to Tampa's nearly 1.7. Like, that was a massive swing. And these underlying analytics and everything aren't the whole story. It doesn't tell you everything, but it can kind of paint a picture in some of that stuff and how you kind of analyze and take away from what happened and the momentum that was built. You could see it. It shifted in Tampa's favor in that second period. And the one thing that I want to point out as I was watching the second was it felt like the Leafs and Tampa were going up and down the ice in like a track meet in that second period. The difference was the Leafs were kind of getting their shit kicked in transition. Every time Tampa went up the ice, went on fast breaks, they were creating odd man rushes, they were getting odd man chances, they were causing turnovers in the neutral zone. They wouldn't allow the Leafs clean entrances past the blue line, past center ice. They would suffocate stuff. They would try to cause them to dump the puck in more often than not. And then if the Leafs got in the zone, it was usually matched up evenly, man-on-man wise. Like, there was not numbers in favor of the Leafs more often than not. Whereas when you look at the other way and the chances Tampa was creating, it wasn't like the Tampa Bay Lightning, at least in my opinion, were like hemming you in for 4 minutes and it was like, holy crap, we haven't gotten out of here. The Leafs would at least break it up. Tampa would get some secondary, tertiary chances, but then the Leafs would break it up and go down the other way. It was just when the Leafs went down the other way, they couldn't generate, which started to feel again like the Florida night, which was concerning. But that was very different from the first period, and then that was very different from what they did in the third period, where they snapped out of it and took control back of the game. Like, the Leafs flipped that thing back on its head and said, okay, enough is enough. We're going to dial back in here. We're going to play Maple Leafs hockey. We're going to play the way we did in the opening period, and we're going to take control of our destiny in this one. You kind of got screwed by the refs. on that penalty kill that you ended up having with the Nick Robertson cross-check, which I'll speak to in a second. But outside of that, I mean, this was a pretty high-intensity, fast-paced game. It was fun to watch. It was fun to kind of just be a part of as a fan. I just want to eliminate those switch-ups of like the first to the second to the third period, where the first and the third period are money. And if you play like that for 60, you're winning this game, no problem. But you play that second period like that, it opens the door back up, and all of a sudden, the Tampa Bay Lightning have generated momentum. They get on the board. Like, get rid of that. Clean it up. Let's play a full 60 here. Because the first and the third, dialed in. The second, not so much. Let me touch on that quickly as I see more super chats pouring in and we have more things to get to. I put out a video on Twitter. I basically briefly lost my mind for a second when I saw that penalty being called. And while I do know and understand that Bobby McMahon is going back and forth and cross-checking and they're getting in that physical altercation, Brayden Point is throwing the exact same cross-checks at Bobby McMahon. Like, this was not a one-sided bout. This is not one guy throwing them on the other. And then I think the thing in all of that becomes more infuriating is that Nick Robertson goes to the corner to pick up the puck, and in comes the Tampa defender who cross-checks Nick Robertson into the boards. Then McMahon and Brayden Point start chucking them, and while they're standing there in like this weird, unbalanced, back and forth, like, fucking Banana Land's not a real fight between Brayden Point and Bobby McMahon, the refs come in and break it up, give them the fighting penalties, and then give the Leafs a cross-checking penalty? Like, it's one thing to just call the cross-checking penalty and just be like, that was stupid already because of what we just witnessed happen. But Nick Robertson, the guy who ends up having to serve the extra penalty, got fucking cross-checked in the corner. Like, these are situations where you watch these officials and you wonder what in the absolute fuck these guys are doing, thinking, feeling to make that call. This is You're approaching the playoffs here. You're getting into the playoff mentality. We watched 60 minutes of the Florida Panthers clutching, grabbing, holding, hooking, all of that. I got no issue with it. That's how you want to call it in the playoffs. That's how you want to call it in the playoffs. I'm not going to complain. The Maple Leafs need to grow a set of testicles and find ways to play through it. But it's the other side where it's like, you play that in Florida last night, less than 24 hours ago. You roll into the game here tonight against Tampa, and like two guys get in a cross-checking match, and the official at center ice, fucking 100 feet away from the play, is calling a cross-checking penalty on a battle between two guys? Are you kidding me? There's a referee in the corner, 20 feet away, watching that play develop, watching Nick Robertson get cross-checked, and the guy at center is calling a cross-checking penalty on McMahon and Point going at it? Are you kidding me? You gotta let him go. You gotta make a decision here. Are we calling everything or are we calling nothing? You cannot decide to put your hand in the pot here and there and start to make decisions and dictate how the game is gonna go. The tempo of the game, the opportunities teams are gonna get. Like, the Tampa Bay Lightning scored on that power play. And while that was an issue because of the Leafs penalty kill, so I'm not gonna blame the rest for all this, but how do you let that happen? How do you have this confusion of what is and isn't a penalty on any given night? That is fucking bullshit for that to be called like that. You have two guys, one being a superstar for the Lightning, who's engaging in a physical altercation, decides to drop his gloves. You break up the fight, fuck off with breaking up the fight, and then you call the extra cross-check on the Leafs? What are we doing? If you're going to call something for an instigator or whatever, I'm still probably going to yell at you and be pissed about it. But at least I could be like, okay, you're calling McMahon for baiting point in. Sure, like, I guess that's how you do it. That is outrageous. Nick Robertson got cross-checked in the corner, and then you called that cross-check from 100 feet away. Those are the ones where it's like, shake your fucking head. It's the third period of an important game trying to determine the outcome of a division. Who finishes first? Who plays who? How does home ice advantage work? Unbelievable to have that thing called in that moment. Like, show some consistency. Show some consistency in that moment. That's what I don't get. Like, this is not, the refs are the reason that this thing happened here tonight, or the refs are the reason they lost, or lost that extra point of gap, or whatever. Like, I'm not going to blame that. That is just a mind-numbingly insane call, in my opinion. Like, you can't call that. That's fucking horseshit. Brutal call. Brutal time to jump in and decide to have an impact on the game. Anyways, I needed to get that rant off my chest. I would have been fucking up a tree tomorrow if I woke up and was like, wow, I didn't. More super chats. Let's get to these. Let's bang these out because you guys are firing away. We have about $160 donated here. Proceeds raised for Sick Kids charity, an awesome cause. So thank you guys for sending in the super chats. I see them just continuing to come in here. So thank you guys for all the support. Thank you for liking it. If you haven't already liked the show, hit that like button. Let's run this thing up to 150 likes here on the show tonight. Why not? Like, we're getting ready to get to the playoffs. Usually in the playoffs, we do hit like 200, 300 likes on a show. Why don't we get into playoff form? Let's get to some more super chats. This is the one that Vic was laughing at earlier. Let's get through this. Mitch Marner's vulva says, and quote, "All this criticism is making me dry." That's enough airtime that you need. Mike Fammy, Leafs in 5.5. Mike, thanks for the super chat. Good one. Patrick G. Mafia sends in the super chat, says, Montreal or Ottawa round 1 for Sick Kids. Thumbs up. Look, both of them give me nightmares. Here's why. One, the last time you played the Habs, you know how it went. That sucked. They are a hot team. They're adding Ivan Demidov into that mix. That's scary. It's all scary. The Ottawa Senators, new to the playoffs, some excitement. Haven't been here. Have these guys who are not used to it. The reason I would rather play, if you're just going to make me pick between the two, Montreal over Ottawa, is Ullmark scares me more than Montembeault scares me. While I think that it's awesome for the Habs to go on this heater, I feel like them making a playoffs is a little bit of a product of the Rangers being so bad, Columbus falling off, Detroit falling off, the Islanders being so bad. You know, go down the list of teams that you thought would have been better and weren't. Like the rest of that conference, or the rest of this conference, the Atlantic, whatever, there's some fraudulent teams that were around there, and the Habs kind of just jumped ahead of them. It was like, well, if the Rangers just weren't a dumpster fire, they're in the playoffs. They don't even have to be world beaters. They just don't have to be a dumpster fire. They're probably in the playoffs over the Habs. But you lose a couple games you shouldn't, and next thing you know, the Montreal Canadiens jump you. But, I mean, I would probably rather just play Montembeault than Ullmark, truthfully. More super chats. Joe Slater. We have to re-sign Marner. He gets 1 million assists and gives away sticks the team pays for, and all he will cost us is 15% of the cap. It's a no-brainer. Dreger says so. I'm going to assume because of the final line that he's trolling? If so, exceptional troll. Respect. You don't have to sign shit until we figure out what happens in the playoffs. That's the way I'm going to answer that. I don't want to do like a whole Marner conversation because people will get mad tonight. I got to read these because they're sent in as super chats. I don't really know what they're for, but I'll go the two from Dan. At Patrick G Mafia, who cares? Let's go. Thanks for the super chat. Dan Freeman also says, at X though, why not help sick kids? Put some dollars on your trolling. Again, don't know what this is for, but it's a super chat and I read them. Thanks for the super chat. Two more here to get to before we can kind of get to some of our final stuff and wrap up the show tonight. Super chat here from Mitch Marner's Vulva. Mitch Marner's Vulva. A sentence I've said too many times on the show tonight. Pretty typical Leafs game where opponents... Oh, my screen's refreshing. Good. Sorry, Mitch Marner's Vulva. Pretty typical Leafs game where opponents seem to have favorable flow of play, but it's mostly an illusion. Leafs do pretty well keeping teams to the outside. Also of note, Leafs lead league screening own goalie. Yeah. That goal that was scored by Perbix was very much a self-screen by the Leafs at that point. Like, the amount of traffic in front of Stolarz on that play was very heavily influenced by Maple Leaf sweaters. Like, there was a lot of Leafs bodies in the way, going through his vision, standing in front of him, not getting guys out. Like, it was just, all of it was just so clogged up with Leafs players around. The first part, though, pretty typical Leafs game where opponents seem to have favorable flow of play, but it's mostly an illusion. Leafs do pretty well keeping teams to the outside. I would agree to an extent. That second period, though, very much does not fit that narrative. That was very different. Like, the way that second period took place was concerning. And honestly, if not for Stolarz, and if not for... Another thing I'll credit there as well at that point was, if not for the defensive group of this team, who played really well and kind of stopped a lot of the opportunities that Tampa had, if they broke through at some point, this thing could have flipped on its head and been a nightmare for the Maple Leafs, because Tampa was generating off of the rush and in transition a lot, getting a lot of odd man opportunities. It was the defensive group, like Benoit and Carlos and Tanev, stepping up at times to break up plays, not allow passes to get OEL as well, not allow passes to get across, not allow things to progress too much further than the top of the circles. Like, they were doing a really good job at handling those odd man rushes, at handling situations where a good chance would happen and they wouldn't allow it to compound into 2, 3, 4 consecutive chances and shutting things down. But that second period was tough. Like, I mean, let's call it what it was. For the most part, yeah, there's times where it's like, oh, wow, they're carrying play, but the Leafs stop a lot of chances. That second period, it opened up, and it was Tampa's game. You just got lucky with Stolarz being real hot and the defense kind of doing enough to mitigate disaster the way that they did. Last super chat here. Dan Freeman. Bro, the arm goes up because the dirty hit, then scrap ensues, and then Tampa power play. It's disgusting. I hate this league. When the Leafs win a cup, I'm walking away. F this shit-ass league. Give me a Leafs dynasty, and I'm done. Oh, that's why. X, though, says, I wish we had a down like button for this. Fair. X, though, also asked to do call-ins tonight. I'm not going to do that. We spent enough time with Vic. It's an hour 25 on this one on the post game on a Wednesday night. You know, we got to keep things respectable. If we take callers, we'll be here for 2.5 hours. That's like a playoff type of thing, not game 78. So, I I gave my thoughts on that penalty and the call and what went into it. It was frustrating, but I don't know if I have enough or anything else to add to it. We got to get out of here with a couple more things on the show tonight, so let's start with this one. Let's go to our best bet segment. Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner. Every face-off, hat trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Download the Bet365 app and use the code NATION, NATION. Code NATION, NATION, to get in on the game. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Ontario only. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Look. When you're hot, you're hot. When you're having a good season, you're having a good season. I don't know what to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. There's a reason you should be tuning in to the Leafs pregame video every single game. Every Leafs game day, I come on this channel, I put out a video. It's not live, but it's a video. We talk about the lineups for the night, the goaltending matchups, who's in, who's out, power play, penalty kill, and then most importantly, I give a best bet. I give a best bet over at Bet365. We've been hot lately. We've been hot this year. 30 wins on the show, 53 losses. But I don't care about the record. All I'm here for is money won. When you're betting bigger plus monies, plus 200, 250, 300s, 350, 700s. You don't need to win every single night. You just need to win enough money to outweigh the losses. You need to hit a few. Sometimes you just get given a gift from the hockey gods, and they put it on a platter in front of your face, and they say, bet this. Don't overthink it. Bet this. And when you play the Tampa Bay Lightning, and for whatever unknown reason, the sports books turn around, our friends at Bet365 turn around and say, Zack, Leafs Nation chat, morning takers, after darkers, here's Matthew Knies, anytime goal, plus 350. You don't overthink it. You don't go, what's going to happen here tonight? How is this going to work? No, you say, it's Matthew Knies. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning. Plus 350, I'm in. We put $50 on Matthew Knies' anytime goal. That is a profit, not a return, a profit of $175. If you bet 50 on that one, you would have returned $225, but you profit $175. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a 21% ROI on the season for us. $909 profited so far this year. $909 profit on the season. 9.09 units. That was our best bet for tonight's game. It's simple sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. You just keep it simple. 909. 909. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Let's rip these super chats that people have now sent more of. You sickos. $240 donated on the show tonight. Keep liking the stream. Let's get to 150. Thank you for the likes. More super chats, though. 2 of them. I guess on a more serious note here, I'm sorry to hear this. I did not know this, but people had asked Dan why he sends money and and sends the super chats here. Dan says, bros, I like spending my money on the kids because I've lost one. It means something to me. Dan, thank you for the participation. Thank you for sending the super chats. Means an incredible amount, I'm sure, to the people in the chat as well. People at Sick Kids Charity. The amount of money that we've raised on the post-game show and on this channel this year has been unbelievable. There you go. Throw that word in there again. But thank you again for constantly sending those to the chat here, to the show, to the channel, for helping out a great cause. I'm sorry to hear that, but thank you for the super chats. I mean, I guess this is how the After Dark show works. You go from something like really serious like that, and then you go to the other side. But I'm sure Dan would enjoy this. Mitch Marner's vulva with a super chat. Leafs going to have 4 30-goal scorers. Pretty sick. I don't even know what else to add to that. It is pretty sick. Unbelievable. Unbelievable is the way to put it, I think. Let's get to some of our final segments and wrap up the show here tonight. Let's start with our play of the game. Play of the game for me. Let's just go to the OT winner. It starts with Matthew Knies hauling ass up ice, 2-on-1 between the legs, pass across. I mean, how much more can we talk about Matthew Knies? How much more can we give the guy credit and talk about how unreal, unbelievable the guy is as a player? It's just impressive every time you watch him play, every time you watch games like this. That OT goal, the lead up to it, the play that was made, the pass across was disgusting. The IQ to stay there, not drive by the net, not do a flyby, whatever, but be in position to tap it into the empty net. That's a pretty incredible play. I'm also going to give some credit here to Marner's goal here, the first of the game. As producer Vic pointed out there, Marner's 1-0 goals play of the game. That was filth. That was pretty disgusting. The cut back across, you're going towards your backhand, hit the stop up, go back outside, open up a little bit of space for yourself, get that shot off that goes and beats Vasilevsky up over the shoulder, far side in. That was a great goal as well. Great way to open things up. And Marner just continues to rack up goals and points here on the season. Goals, assists, points. Unbelievable year for Mitch Marner. I gotta stop saying that word. Anyways, let's get to our final segment of the night, and that would be our grade of the game. If you're new to it, you drop your grade in the chat. I'll get to those, and I'll give my grade as well. As we get to our grade of the game, a reminder, the grade of the game segment is presented by Greta Bar YYZ. Our friends at Greta Bar, great spot before, during, and after the game. You check out the great street food menu and games in the arcade. Just an unreal spot. I can't wait to go back there and kick producer Vic's ass in air hockey. Hopefully it's a spot we go to in the playoffs as well. Weekly drink specials. Greta Bar is the place to be. 590 King Street West. Greta Bar. Let the games begin. I think my grade tonight is probably going to end up being an A-. I mean, the A, I could be talked into the A. I'm just looking at some of the team stats here. You outshot Tampa tonight 31-28. You won the faceoff battle. You did get out hit, but I think for the first period and the third period, you carried possession of the puck a lot. Thankfully, you flipped it back over and you did control the faceoff battle, which you got dominated in last night. As well, on top of that, you were 1 for 2 on the power play. Nice to see your power play get on the board and like a game that we do consider a playoff style of game against the Lightning, and one where for the most part you probably really need power play production. The other side of the special teams though is that Tampa goes 2 for 4. I think this is probably 1 for 4, if not for a play made that we have discussed in depth here on the post-game show tonight by a certain number 16 who lays out to make that. Probably ends up 1 for 4, but it doesn't. So 50%, I'm not overly thrilled with on the night, especially knowing who's out there and just giving them that many opportunities, giving them that many power plays. You'd like to limit that. But otherwise, pretty solid night. I mean, Anthony Stolarz finishes with an 893. I don't really think that's indicative of his night here tonight. You think about the goals that were scored, 2 of them there, probably you look at and say, hey, that's a real tough screen for him to fight through. That's a tough puck for him to find and get to. But otherwise, I thought he played pretty well. He made some massive saves at really key times in this game. Think about that Morgan Rielly overtime Rielly big giveaway, as we talked about the pizza commercial last night on the show with Rosie, and Braden Point in on a breakaway. Like, that's a bad guy to give up a breakaway to, especially in OT, and Anthony Stolarz comes up big. Those last couple of minutes in the third period, the last opportunities in overtime for Tampa, Anthony Stolarz made some massive saves, finishes with the 893, but I feel like he deserves a little bit more credit than what that number is going to give him for a night like this. It's an A-. I mean, you showed up for the first, you showed up for the third, you showed up in overtime, which was back and forth. But I wish that second period was drastically better, because if it is, you probably walk out of here with a regulation win, and there's no doubt in your minds that you lock up first in the Atlantic over the next couple of games, and you're not sweating out mandatory winning 2, maybe 3 games over the next 4. So that is my final grade. Thank you to everyone who watched the show here tonight. Thanks to everyone who liked, commented, sent super chats, subscribed. Official stats on tonight's show. Let's recap with this. $240 donated here via super chat. Proceeds going to Sick Kids Charity. 133 likes on the stream, and we still have over 200 people watching at this point. Thank you to everyone who's watched, liked, commented, who is still active in the chat. Quick note about Saturday. I will be going to the Montreal-Toronto game. It is in Toronto, and I live about 10 minutes-ish away from the rink. So I will hustle back from the game to here. But I'm just giving you a pre-warning. The show will start a little bit later. We'll see how things are going in the third period and where it's at and what the score is, because maybe we jet out of there a little bit sooner. But I'm just letting you guys know I got an opportunity to go to the game. Second one this year. It's like the third game I've gone to in like the last 5 years. So 4 years. So I'll be going to the game. I'll be a little bit later on the stream. Hopefully, those starting Saturday night around 10 o'clock Eastern time. That's all for me. That's the final note that I had. Appreciate everyone for liking, commenting, subscribing. Yet again, I say that. It's been an unbelievable stream here tonight. Thanks for watching. I'll be back on Saturday for another game preview and a post-game show. Thank you. We'll see you on Saturday. This has been Game 78 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, defeating the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-3 in overtime. See you on Saturday. Till then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.